think is new.
This is America, baby. This is America. Look at all the grass, everything, right?
Sometimes I feel like Greg's humor can be kind of a deflection for whatever internal issues he's having. You know, he's still living in his mother's house at the age of 35.
Welcome back, everyone. A new season of 90 Day is upon us, and there are some old couples, there are some new couples, there's the first ever throuple, and okay, this is incredibly distracting. What is going on here? I feel like they're peering into my soul. I do not like this. I can hardly watch these two anymore because whenever they turn towards the camera, I feel like I have to hide behind my couch. You know, after all this time, I've been trying to figure out what I recognize Sarper from because he looks so familiar. And then I remembered that scene from Ghostbusters when the gargoyle turns into a monster and chases Rick Moranis around.
Baby, I got a milk bone.
I found one.
But today we're actually going to be talking about Greg and Joan, who are a new couple on this season. And this is certainly not one of those cases where anyone is getting used. Both of these two seem to love each other and they're both likable people. The problem is there's no ignoring the fact that Greg is a bit of a man-child and he's quite immature for being 35 years old. You can be the nicest guy in the world, but if you're 35, living with your mom, in debt, and turning down job offers before your fiancé shows up to live with you, you're probably not going to have a happy marriage and you're definitely not going to be able to support a family.
My work ethic can be a little laxed sometimes, right? Call it ADHD or just call it being lazy. I don't know.
You know, I like to have a nice meal cooked for him. And I'm doing my laundry. I'll go in his room and scoop everything up that's dirty. I'll have to clean the bathroom upstairs, straighten out his room when he leaves the room, put out the garbage.
Okay, I see the problem. So where is Greg when his mother is doing all of these things? Well, Greg is unemployed, so he just spends most of the day doing that. When Greg isn't spending time being unemployed, he talks about owning a bakery because that's been his lifelong dream. But at this point, he's at that age where he should probably put that on hold for now and just be a little bit more realistic. I'm not exactly sure what he's been doing for a job, if anything, because he says he's a freelance plumber, but only for his friends and family.
I don't have a typical 9 to 5. Plumbing is just a means to an end. You know, it's not something I'm very passionate about. Right now, my customers are just friends and family mainly, and also like friends of friends.
It's so funny that he's describing them as customers when we all know his family got together and they were like, all right, we need to do something about Greg. We need to make him feel useful. Does anybody have any ideas? Well, I've been having an issue with my sink recently. Perfect. Sounds like a job for Greg. I'll send him over this afternoon. I'll give him a box of tools. He'll have a wrench. Does he know how to do that? Is he familiar with plumbing? That's not important. All right, so what time works for you?
Dang, man.
What's the matter with it?
Whoever did this originally, yeah, they
So Greg and Joan actually did not meet online. They met in person when Greg was on a trip to Uganda. They hit it off right away and ended up really liking each other, but Greg never expected to hear from her again until she added him as a friend on social media. After he visited a few more times, they got engaged and Joan decided she was going to move to America and live with Greg and his mom. Despite being 9 years younger than Greg, Joan has had a more successful career. She has a bachelor's degree in marketing and she was the director of a nonprofit organization. She's giving up a lot to be with Greg and essentially be taken care of by his mother for the foreseeable future.
I mean, which room is she gonna live in?
Listen, we have a futon on one end of the wall.
I can't do that to her. That's not right.
So yeah, she's leaving her job and her family to come crash on Greg's mom's futon for a couple years while he gets his shit together. That's what every fiancé would love to do. They all dream of that. And remember, she can't work here for a certain period of time, so she just has to sit at home and watch him play League of Legends. But it's okay, because this is America, baby. We got grass, we got supermarkets, we got mom's futon, we're in $8,000 of debt.
We do eventually intend to get in my mother's house, you know, but it's just going to take some time. She can't work until we get that green card and stuff like that, so it definitely is going to be all on me. I'm really working on the bakery.
So recently, Greg turned down a government job because he said he wasn't passionate about it and he would be miserable there, and he wants to focus all his energy on opening up his own bakery. He said the same thing about plumbing. He's like, oh, I'm not passionate about it. Does he understand that it's not about passion? You just kind of need to get a job when you're 35. You can't be this selective about your jobs when you're living with your mother and you have a fiance and you want to have 4 kids.
Feels like I've been waiting my entire life for this moment. It's like, you know, opening that box of pizza and just having that first slice, taking that first bite. It's going to be like the whole world stops for a second, like fireworks. And
I love the drastic difference between those two things. A box of pizza and the entire world stopping for a second. It's one or the other, you know? It's one or the other, either or. Both of them accurately describe how I feel. I don't know, I feel like starting your life with your fiance should be a little bit better than a bite of pizza, but I get what he's saying. So Greg arrives at the airport to meet Joan, and he brings a loaf of bread with him that has her name carved into it. It's a nice gesture, you know, it's sweet of him to do that, but it's undeniably funny to see him hold up a loaf of bread like it's a sign when you can't even read her name on there.
Yes, I like it.
Instead of holding a cardboard sign, you know? It feels amazing to be reunited again. It feels like I'm waking up for the first time ever, being born out of my mother's womb, you know?
So these two actually seem really good together. Everything is very happy in the beginning until Greg has to break the news to Joan that they won't be staying in the same room. I think this is when reality hits her that they aren't starting their life together yet, that they're actually just living with his mom, and she's going to lose a significant amount of independence that she had in Uganda. Not to mention, she still doesn't know that Greg recently turned down a really good job just so he could spend more time with her.
So we were having a conversation about you coming here. And, you know, one thing we were talking about is just like obviously us getting intimate, making
Scootily poop.
And she was very concerned because she doesn't want to hear noises and all these crazy things.
You talk to your parents about intimacy?
Oh man, Greg is heading down the path of Clayton real fast. Now, of course, I understand why she's a little bit freaked out that they talked about this, but that's part of the issue when you're living with your mother and your fiancé at 35. This kind of thing is inevitably going to come up. It's not exactly the biggest turn on in the world, and that's how you get situations like Clayton. But, you know, at least Greg didn't make the mistake of having 30 guinea pigs running around and having his mom live in a closet. Now, that's where Clayton went wrong. You just don't do that. It's a classic mistake.
It's not that I got into like raw details about everything, like, you know what I mean? But I told her, I was like, listen, I hear you, I understand. And she had asked if it was possible. Oh my God.
It was possible to what?
Maybe you wanted to sleep in like a separate room.
But listen, it's a great room. I got you all hooked up down there. There's a futon, there's a lava lamp, I got the Sega Dreamcast going. Maybe after my mom falls asleep, I can sneak down the hallway and watch you play Sonic Adventure. Damn it, Greg, are you serious? You don't even have Jet Set Radio?
I'm not sleeping in a separate room.
No, I don't want you to, you know? Maybe we can compromise on something with my mom, like leaving the door open.
Leaving the door open for what? So she can hear it more easily? What? It sounds like Greg's mother just wanted them to stay in separate rooms out of respect until they got married, but she didn't really specify her opinion on whether they are intimate or not. It's just one of those things that's going to be awkward no matter what you do, so it's best to just avoid it entirely. But at this point, Greg is nowhere near close enough to moving out, and he's actually in debt. He's also saying that he doesn't want to rent because it's a waste of money, so he wants to stay with his mother until he can buy a place. Again, he's being incredibly picky for someone in his position.
During the day, if we're all home and she's home, she doesn't want us like going upstairs and fooling around, you know?
Like we can go upstairs, nothing happened.
Like, I don't know, I just don't want to disrespect my mom in her house, and I completely understand that. You know what I mean?
To be fair to Greg, he is self-aware at least. He's not delusional like so many other people on the show. Whenever his mother or his fiancé or friends of his have any concerns, he never argues with them and he always listens. But at the same time, I could see him being one of those people that just never really puts in the effort to change. He seems really complacent and content at his mother's by his own admission, so Joan is really going to have to push him, and I don't know if she's going to be up for the task. This is how a situation can go Clayton real fast, but Greg has a lot more personality than Clayton, and you can tell that these two actually love each other, so I'm not even super pessimistic about them, but there are definitely some unavoidable problems here.
But listen, going into this, like, I hope you're not mad, or you know what I mean? Don't be like sour or, you know?
No, I'm not mad, I'm just sad. I'm sad, I feel like crying just because of thinking of that situation.
Don't cry, it's all right.
So judging from Greg's facial expression, he seems to be a little bit surprised that she is upset by this. Maybe he is just so accustomed to how he's living already that he doesn't see what a drastic change it is for her, because I think it would be difficult for anyone to leave their life behind, their family, their job, the place that they lived. It's a lot. I think the living situation with his mother is just adding another level of stress to it because she no longer has the independence she had before.
In Uganda, I had like a life. I'm a director at an NGO, so I have a bachelor's degree. And here in America, I'm a nobody, have nothing to do. I have to just sit home, staying in my mother-in-law's house.
So Joan actually says that she wouldn't have even moved to America yet if she knew they had to stay in separate rooms, which means that Greg is going to have to try really hard to convince his mom to let them have a sleepover. But Mom, we're going to be like getting married and stuff. That's not fair. Mom, every time you say something, you end up going back on it later and it's not fair, and now we're doing this in front of Joan. Mom, do you know what the Wi-Fi password is? No, I know you don't know how to change it, but it's changed. It's not what it was. I don't know what to tell you. So Joan meets Greg's mom, and everything seems to be going pretty well.
Joan seems very shy and very clingy with Gregory.
Clingy? You mean you're calling me clingy?
There's things that has to be put out there, you know, on the table, and just think that they're not in their own place, and
It's a bit too soon to tell if Greg's mom is using Debbie's playbook, but I think that's on the horizon. Joan definitely wants Greg to understand that this is meant to be a temporary thing, because he seems to have a habit of just putting everything up in the air, like, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it, but at a certain point you need to start taking steps in that direction.
20 pounds of gobble.
So Joan goes into Greg's room, and he has a 2017 calendar on the wall, and she's like, oh, wasn't that like 7 years ago?
I don't know. My mom put it up there. I just never really took it down. I guess I kind of just like the dogs, you know? They're adorable. This is obviously the bed.
Hey, Ma, we need a new calendar. It's not 2017 anymore. She thinks it's 2017. She's crazy. Listen, babe, I know this isn't ideal. Trust me, I hear you. But just remember, we're only going to be here for 2 years. But don't worry, we're going to get plenty of freedom. The basement is our kingdom. It's like a mom-free zone. She's not even allowed down there. So Greg ends up getting a little bit emotional over the fact that they can't stay in the same room because he just wants Joan to feel as comfortable as possible here. I think his mom just feels bad, and she said that she hasn't seen him get emotional like that before, so she ends up giving in and they stay in the same room. But I think the rule is no scootily poop and the door must remain open. So they wake up together and everything is all nice, but then all of a sudden they hear the weed whacker going outside and he's like, hey Ma, what are you doing?
Hey, Mom.
hi, Greg.
You guys better not be scootily pooping up there.
We hugged a little bit, and then she passed like almost out immediately.
So later in the day, they have a conversation about showers because Joan takes like 2 to 3 showers a day, and obviously Greg isn't the one paying for the water bill. It seems like they're trying to get as many of these conversations out of the way right in the beginning so they don't have to just keep having them over and over.
Gregory says you'd like to take a lot of showers. How many a day? Are they long showers?
We're not long showers.
Are they hot showers?
This is something that would be much less of an issue if Greg just got a job and started chipping in a little bit. It's surprising that his mom has had the patience to put up with everything for so long and continues to when he declines jobs. She's also apparently never even asked him to pay rent, and somehow he doesn't have a lot built up in savings. It's pretty evident how inexperienced he is when they go to the grocery store and he doesn't have any type of budget. He just says he gets whatever. This is something that is very easy to do and say when it's not your own money that you're spending.
Greg is taking me to the supermarket in America for the first time. I'm excited because I've only seen the supermarkets in the movies. They look very beautiful and organized, but the more beautiful they look, the more expensive stuff. Do you have a budget for now?
Do I have a budget right now? Really? If I just see something I like, I just buy it?
It's funny because he goes around pointing out how expensive things are. He's like, look, babe, this is $5 here. So things are not easy to afford. That's why it's important to get a job and save up money. Wait, why am I telling you this? You're the one who had... Never mind.
Yeah, so this okra, just so you know, right? Look, it's $4.
Almost $4.
Right?
This okra would be, I want 1K. I want me and Greg to get our own house soon.
Unless I'm missing something, they're at least a few years away from that even being a possibility. She seems to really like Greg though, so I think as long as he gets a job and just takes a few steps in the right direction every now and then, they'll be fine.
The plan for the future, you know, I declined that state job. I don't know, were you coming and everything? I just wanted to be able to spend time with you.
To me, this seems pretty irresponsible for someone in his position. He should be trying to save up as soon as possible to get out of his mom's house because she clearly doesn't want to be there. Sure, you'll be able to spend more time with her now, but all you're really doing is just postponing your future. He then goes on to tell her that he would have been miserable at that job and he wasn't passionate about it, but you kind of have to make sacrifices when it comes to that. You can't just wait around for something that you'd absolutely love to do, especially when you're 35.
You know, and it's not necessarily something I was really passionate about. I think I would have been kind of like not miserable going to work. I just wouldn't have enjoyed it at all. It just wasn't what I wanted to do, you know. Okay, crying.
Dude, I think she just wants to know that you intend to take this seriously and that you're actually going to take care of her. What are you going to be, 45 years old? Like, oh, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. I haven't found a job that just works for me yet, you know? He says that other opportunities will come along, which is, of course, possible, but you can't just keep pushing everything off because you think something better is going to come along. So in this next scene, Greg and Joan go out to dinner with Greg's friends, and of course, they have a lot of questions.
I mean, obviously, we're going to push towards getting our own place.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time, dude. I don't want to rent.
So what do you want to do?
The bakery, man. I want to
You want to open a bakery?
Greg keeps talking about this bakery, but it doesn't seem like he's making any steps towards that goal. You can't just sit around and talk about opening a bakery all day. You have to start doing something at a certain point. Not to mention the fact that many businesses like that take at least a few years to turn a profit. It's not a dream he has to throw away, but it's definitely something he needs to put on the shelf for now.
You're not some trust fund hipster whose, parents have unlimited funds to finance whatever dreams that you have.
So the guys are really grilling me hard about getting a real job and moving out of my mom's house. It is true, it's all warranted, but the amount of money that I have been spending to go back and forth to Uganda, the food.
But you live at home and you're 35. That's the point. How do you not have more money saved by now? It's frustrating because it's like you can't even get mad at this guy. Every time you say something, he's like, I know, it's all warranted. I need to do something about it. Yeah, so do something about it. I mean, 90% of their problems would be solved if he just got a job, so it's only a matter of time. If he doesn't do that, I'm assuming she's gonna get fed up. And all in all, this guy is not nearly as bad as many other people on this show. I really could see this working out as long as he gets his shit together.
What's like the end game? Like, what is it you're looking for in the end, the both of you?
I want as many kids as she's willing to give me,
How many kids are you willing to give? Two. Very realistic number, thank you.
I would settle for 4.
Yeah, you heard that right. He will settle for 4 kids, but ideally he wants at least 10. Now, I know he's not suggesting they do that right now or anything, but if he wants this to be a reality, I hope he recognizes what he needs to do.
Like, looking at the way he handles his savings, doesn't save, so he needs a budget.
I am worried that things are not going to work out, and she's just gonna kick him to the side, to be honest with you.
So there you have it. That is the Greg and Joan story so far. Do you think all of their problems are things they can work through together, or do you think this is inevitably going to just end with them breaking up? In the next video, we're going to talk about the first ever throuple on the show, and boy, let me tell you, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I'm sure even most polyamorous people would admit that this is not how you do it, and this is not going to end well. If a married couple that already has children is planning to get divorced and have the husband get remarried to a new woman from a different country so she can live in America, how is jealousy not going to come into play there? Like, how is that going to work? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It's not going to work, but we will get to that next time. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one.
I just never really took my life serious, I guess, in the fact that I need a career, I need to do this. I guess I'm kind of stuck in that young mentality my entire life. Maybe we can compromise on something with Mom, like leaving the door open.
I know I'm come from a little island